welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be going over some of the major club owner pet peeves in Star Stable. Now, as many of you know, I own a Discord server for club owners, members, and general clubless people alike. It's just general help, helping you find clubs, giving club owners advice, helping club owners gain members, and we offer all different types of clubs, sizes, and levels of activity. So I recently interviewed all the registered club owners in that server, and I kind of summarized everything, all of their pet peeves, and I'm going to share them with you today. I'm not really going to read their answers, but I'll give you a general gist of things that were said, and I'll of course add my own opinion onto that as we train. You might notice that I have a different hairstyle than my quote-unquote signature one, and that is because I am paying tribute to the previous club owner pet peeves video, which was made about a year ago. So yeah, fun, and it's kind of cute as well. It's just that my blue hair doesn't match with everything, and I'm all about the matchy-matchy. Okay, anyways, let's get started. So first of all, when new members aren't on their best behavior. So this happens a lot, and again, it's pretty general because I summarized everything and sorted them into categories. But when people apply and they get accepted, when I message them, they're like, "Oh, I'm not interested anymore," or "Oh, I found a different club." And that's really upsetting to hear because when you apply for a club, you spend a lot of time into your application. At least that's what I'm assuming if you're going to get accepted. And the club owners, believe it or not, we actually spend a lot of time deciding who we think would be the best fit for our club, and then making sure we get their Discord. Then we send out specific invites and stuff like that. It takes a lot of time. Especially the voice interviews, scheduling those and getting them all done. And we kind of map things out because if we want a specific amount of members, then we send a specific amount of acceptances. And when someone doesn't really accept or when they change their mind, it messes up our system and it really wastes our time because then we have to sometimes we have to go back and adjust a lot of things. So that's really annoying. And also, when someone leaves as soon as they join, I have had people, let me tell you, I've had them join Dangerous Sisters, right? And then the day after they join, and this is after you get accepted into the application stage, then the voice interview stage, and those take almost 2 weeks to get finished because if you make it past that time, we hope that you're actually dedicated. So they join the club after 2 weeks, and then the day after they join, they go, "Oh, well, I've changed my mind," or "I'm too busy for the club," or "I have to quit Star Stable, I lost interest in dressage, um, I don't want to do Star Stable anymore," whatever, a bunch of different excuses. And we find that really disrespectful because, again, that is so much time of both yours and ours that you've just wasted. And why would you join a club if you're not committed to being in that club in the first place? So, due to that issue that is so common, in our voice interviews, we literally have to specifically talk about commitment because that way we can hold people accountable if they do what I'm saying and they just leave the day after, right? Because a lot of people, their excuses for being unloyal or for doing stuff like that and changing their mind immediately is, "I don't know what loyalty is," or "it's my decision," right? So if we explain what loyalty is, then they can't use that as an excuse. And I know, it's your decision, but it's our time that you're wasting. So I just find that pretty disrespectful. Like, also, when people they join the club as a trial and they go on their trial, right? The 2 weeks of their trial, well, in Danger Sisters, it's 2 weeks at least. They barely talk at all. They just really inactive as all the trials are communicating and making friends. They just don't say anything. And then at the end of the trial, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave. I don't feel like I fit in." Girl, of course you don't fit in. You barely even talk, right? How are we gonna get to know you if you don't speak? We don't do sign language here, my friends. I don't even know what to say. People these days, honestly. Like, we want to get to know you better, and we don't intend to make you feel like you don't belong, obviously, but we can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. And people are just using that as an excuse. I've seen a lot of excuses. I've actually had a member say that they were quitting Star Stable, and they were one of my, well, okay, not one of my favorite members, but they were such a sweet person, and they had so much potential. So they were also like really great friends with almost everyone in the club, and they were like, oh, um, I'm gonna leave the club now, and it was pretty soon after they joined, I believe, and they were like, "Oh, my parents forced me to quit Star Stable or something along those lines." We were like, "Okay, we are so sorry for you." And then like less than a week after, they join another club and they're like, "Oh, by the way, I'm back in Star Stable now, but I don't want to join back Dangerous Sisters." And I was like, "Okay." Pretty sure they lied about that because there's no way your parents force you to quit Star Stable for a week and then you're just back like that. It's not possible. Like, if you don't like the club, if you want to leave, just say that. But making up such dumb excuses is honestly, like, embarrassing. I feel like they're just making a fool of themselves. But that is something we will get into later in the video. Okay, something else about like, new people joining is one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone like applies but they're on break or like if they get accepted, they don't mention that they're on break in their application. They're saying that they're going to be super active and then as soon as they get accepted, they're like, "Oh, well, by the way, I'm going to go on break for like 2 years, so yeah, I'll be back." Like don't really get the logic behind that. I think if you apply for club, you need to be aware of the requirements and the expectations for you as a member in that club. So if you can't meet them, then don't lie to yourself and just don't apply because there's no point in getting accepted into a club just to go on break, right? It is so irritating to me because this happens a lot. And some people, what they do is like they go on break for a month and then they come back for like 3 days and then they go on another break. Like, what is the point of being in the club if you're going to constantly be on breaks? I don't see the point in that. Honestly, at that point, just like stay clubless until you yourself feel like you're ready to join a club instead of just taking up a spot where someone else who is much more eager and available could be in the club. Okay, there are also new members who join and like they leave after 5 minutes without telling anyone. Like they don't say anything. And for Dangerous Sisters, I don't know, it's just a theory, but people are like think that trials just join the club to meet me and then they leave as soon as they meet me or get a picture or whatever. And I personally don't think I'm famous, quote unquote famous enough or popular enough to have something like that happen to me. And as much as I'm honored that like I am people's idols and that like you actually like my videos, please don't do that because again, waste of time honestly. And if you want to meet me, like just say hi. There's no need to apply and get all of that, go through that whole process just to leave. Okay, now let's move on to the second issue, and this is lying. So that was what I was kind of previously talking about. Something that does happen a lot in our community is just when people are not loyal when it comes to like leaving the club and just when they're not loyal in general. Something that is honestly so upsetting and nothing like none of this stuff has happened in this Dangerous Sisters like the current one, but just in the past because I have had so much club owning experience. Um, but people, they are so inactive when it comes to the club itself. Like they just don't attend any practices. They are never online. They don't chat. But you know what they do? do? Okay, no, I'm so mature. They attend other clubs' open events and they're always actively talking about other clubs. Like, I don't get that. If you admire another club so much, then why did you join ours? Don't get it, man. Like sometimes it really confuses me. I just want to know what's going on in people's heads when like they join a club and then they don't appreciate it, but they're just like fangirling over a different club. Even if you like adore another club, at least appreciate your own, right? You should respect and actually be active involved in your own club, and you can deal with like the club that you admire later. But if you're just gonna join our club and like not be active, constantly like fangirl over a different club, it's like you can be active for them, but you can't be active for us, and at that point, I'm pretty sure a kick would be necessary. So many people like leave in peace, or like at least what they say is in peace, and then they join another club, or like, no, that doesn't even make sense. Like, some people, what they do is they say they quit Star Stable, or like they don't have time, they're not interested in dressage anymore, and then they leave. The day after, they join another dressage club. Miss Girl, did you not just say that you lost interest in dressage? Like, again, if you don't like our club, just say it. It doesn't really offend anyone, and at least that way we know how we can improve as a club. But if you're going to lie, then that just angers me, honestly. And that is when I would consider someone a club hopper. Just dishonesty in general is, it's not something that I appreciate. Oh, I just beat my record. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, um, yeah. And you know what's even worse is when like they leave your club saying that, they love you and everything, and then they join a club that you have drama with. Like at that point, I'm just like, well, did you join our club to be a spy for that club, or like are you just not are you just now going to spread information on everything that was going on in our club, especially if they like obviously know that we have drama with the club that they left us to join. That's just really disrespectful, honestly. And it's not even like joining our like quote unquote enemy club. And again, I'm not talking about the current DS. It's just in the past where I have had bad experiences with other clubs and owners. It just makes me think that, you're leaving and joining them on purpose to just talk bad about us, and that's not very nice, obviously. Also, something that now I do see a lot is like people who put excuses for like not being able to show up to a practice or an event, and their excuses don't match up with what they're currently doing at the time. Now, I hope this makes sense, but I made a spy themed club. I think I am pretty good at investigating and arguing, debating, stuff like that, and just solving cases. I don't know. But basically, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to an amusement park with friends, and I'm not gonna have my laptop or my phone. I'm not gonna have internet. And then it says that they are clearly online on Discord or online on Star Stable, and under their Discord icon it says that they're playing like Minecraft or like playing whatever other game. And at that point we're like, at least if you're gonna lie, like don't make it that obvious, because like we can tell. If you don't want to make an event, then you can tell us, but I think that if you join a club, then again you should be aware of your expectations, and obviously that is to be active and attend events. So try not to make excuses to go around those types of things. And I don't think I'm guilty of that ever happening. When I was in clubs in my past, if I couldn't make something, that is because I actually couldn't make it, but I was eager to always attend every single event because it's just the kind of person I am. Oh, okay, okay. Here is another one. I don't even know if it's considered lying or not, but when members are constantly forgetting about when we're having events, or they leave an event, or they don't show up just to go hang out with a different friend. Like, you can hang out with your friends at literally any time, And especially if it's like a routine practice or something that's really important where we know we have a deadline and they know they have a deadline and they just prioritize hanging out with their friend. Like our routine, we're gonna finish the routine. We're not gonna have another chance to submit it, but you can hang out with your friend literally any other time. It's not that we don't like understand or empathize. Like there are certain situations where that kind of thing is okay. For example, if your friend is, on an open server and like Nightstar is about to close, so you want to hang out with them before the server closes and you guys can't see each other or something, that's okay. But otherwise, something that's not like that is not cool. Yeah, again, my vocabulary is limited. Don't bully me. Dishonesty on application. So again, this is still on my second point about lying. So I've actually had someone confess to me. Yeah, it was this round of DS. It was pretty early, like about the first batch of applicants, I'd say. Someone applied. They said they were over 13, and then they were super nice though, so I kind of feel bad. But I also kind of don't because they DM'd me a week later and they were like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Snow. I'm actually 12. I just lied, and I admit that I lied being 13 because I just really wanted to join the club, but I will leave now. Thank you so much for what you've done for me," and stuff like that. That is actually what I would consider to be someone who is actually like respectful and honest because I know they didn't have bad intentions. They were just like eager to join. But they owned up to it, and it didn't take them like 6 months. What matters is that they owned up to it, they apologized, and then they did what they had to do. So I really respect the person who did that. However, people like I have actually had people message me about people they know who have tried to like join my club or have been in my club, and like for example, um, they're like I don't even have someone named Tiffany in the club, but for example, let's say I had a Tiffany and one of her friends on Instagram DMs me and she's like, "By the way, I know Tiffany in real life and she's 12, not 13." I've had situations like that, and what I do in situations like that, I don't like being put in those situations because I don't know if I should trust that person, if I should confront my member or whatever, because if I confront my member, then they'll think that I don't believe them, which I do, but you can't trust someone 100%. But also, you have to figure out the incentive or the motive for why the person would tell us that their friend is not the age that we require. Like, do they have something against them? Because if they do, then they could just be lying to like ruin their friend's career. So if we get a warning like that, we would just keep an eye on the person that we were warned about and their age. And if they start acting suspicious or something, then we bring it up. Otherwise, if there are no issues, I believe it should be fine. Okay, but yeah, never lie about your age, please, because clubs have age restrictions for a reason, and that is to keep you safe. Because, first of all, you have to be 13 or older to be on Discord, which is why we have the requirement that we have, because it's technically illegal if you are under 13 and have Discord, and we are a club that uses Discord. Some clubs that are like 15 plus or 16 plus are likely for maturity reasons. So the only thing I can say, because I guess we can never really tell when someone's lying about their age unless they act like it, is like it's all on you, right? If you lie about your age, you get accepted into a club and something happens that you don't really want to happen, that's on you. Because technically, through the age restriction, you were warned about it. For example, if a club is like age 16 and up, and there are some immature not immature, but then there are some mature things in the chats, and you can't handle them, and you're like a 13-year-old, then that's completely your problem. The club didn't do anything wrong because, again, there is an age limit for a reason, my friends. And then we have when people make up stories or like fake things to leave the club, like you can just tell me, I won't be offended. The craziest story we've ever had is when this girl, like, she she like randomly DM'd us, and she's been inactive, sorry, for like a month. She was constantly getting warnings and right about to get kicked out. And then she goes, "Hi guys, it's insert names. Let's just say Tiffany. I don't know why I'm abusing Tiffany's name today, but hi, it's Tiffany's parents. She just got in a coma and she hasn't woken up." And like everyone in the club was like, "What the heck?" Like, how is this person's parents talking to us? And I think this is the kind of thing, this is the kind of scenario that only happens in like pranks, but then the parents, quote unquote, went, "Oh, they passed away. We're hoping that, like, they wake up like their grandma did." And we were like, "What? How do you, like, come back from the dead after you are dead? Like, that's reincarnation? What? It doesn't make sense. It's not possible, like, scientifically, no." And the parents were like, "Oh, they fell off their horse and they like landed on their head and the horse landed on top of them." But I mean, it was hilarious. It gave us a good laugh, but it was really immature, and I think they did it just to get kicked out of the club, which they did get kicked out of the club, because making jokes about death is not something that we want to see from members. But we did get a good laugh out of it because you should have been there. Honestly, it was really really fun. Oh, sorry, seeing this riding arena just makes me want to cry. Okay, anyways. Yeah, it was really entertaining, and no one really knew what was going on, but as soon as like they got kicked out of the club and apparently they came alive from the dead, they made their own club. And I don't know, a lot of things that they said were just not scientifically correct, like the information that quote unquote their parents gave me about their death. And like that is such an extreme way to make a dramatic exit from a club, like to fake your own death. I think they were trying to be really serious about it, and they're like, "Stop laughing, it's a serious situation." Uh, what? Okay, but anyways, that's now like a permanent meme in our club because anytime someone leaves now, we're like, "Well, Tiffany's, dramatic exit was the best we've ever seen. No one can top that." A little inside joke there. Okay. And then this one really isn't considered lying, but I just sorted it into this category because it also concerns leaving. But I hate it. I absolutely despise when people join a club and then it doesn't even matter if they just joined a club or if they've been in the club for a while. It's just in general. When people leave the club without giving you a reason why, they just leave and then like they block you after. I don't understand why people choose like to not tell the club owner while you're leaving. I feel like that's like common etiquette in a club. Like if you leave, you tell us why, right? Because if you don't, then we don't really know what's going on. We can't fix any issues that you're having. So, um, if you like actually send us like a message, then we know what's going on, right? I've had members who have or ex-members who have left, and they send us a paragraph saying how it's not the club's fault, but it's just personal, and or like they didn't feel like they wanted to do the discipline, or like they fit in too well with the vibe. And like if you send us something like that, it really reassures us and makes us feel like, oh, okay, so it's not the club's fault. We can't really do anything to fix that. But if you just leave, then we're kind of like, okay, well, you know what, whatever. So like it makes us feel worse when you don't tell us um, what happened, and it also gives us the vibe that you're really immature, because mature people they actually tell the owner and don't block them when they leave a club. It's kind of sus, but honesty is the best policy, so don't lie, or like just don't not say anything when you leave. Okay, okay, okay. Um, Then we have the third point, which is, last but not least, unloyal people and having quote unquote friends that join the club. I will never get used to this writing arena. Okay, anyways. So club hoppers, right? This should be a category on its own, but club hoppers, I want that. I have the attention span of a goldfish. Yeah. What I would consider to be a club hopper are people who join and leave clubs for the fun of joining and leaving clubs, which is like really, really disrespectful. There's a difference between club hopping and trying to find the right family. There's a really fine line between that, and a lot of people, like a lot of club hoppers that are very well known, use the excuse of like not having found the right family in order to like write their club hopping. But so here's the difference. Again, club hopping is when you're leaving and joining a club when you have no reason to leave except for the fact that like either, you don't think you fit in or you like just make excuses to leave and then you just join random clubs or like quote unquote popular ones. But trying to find the right family is actually joining clubs and staying for a reasonable amount of time to see if you like it, to see if you fit the atmosphere, because you're not going to be in a club for 2 days and then right away see if you fit or not, because you really can't tell that easily. But club hopping, that's what it is. But again, club finding the right family for you is like making sure you know everything the club offers, taking the time to pick every club that you're gonna try, and like actually, what is it called? It's like considering all the aspects and actually trying your best to fit in the club instead of not saying anything and hoping they bring you into the conversation, because keep dreaming, that's never going to happen. If you want something, then you have to go for it yourself, because it's not just going to be provided for you on a silver platter. Okay. Um yeah, don't waste our time club hoppers, man. I always have to warn people about that. Here is one of, again, the most common things that just irk me the most. Is that even a word? I don't think so. But every club owner, you've probably heard the infamous saying, "You guys are my favorite club, the best family, I'm never gonna leave." That, of course, it's always amazing to hear, but if you hear it within like the first day that someone joins, that's already a red flag, girl. No one who says you're already like my perfect family within a day is going to end up staying for a long time. What hurts the most is when someone says that and then they like leave immediately after or soon after, because if we were actually the perfect family for you, then why did you leave? Mm, explanations, please, my friends. Like, okay, you don't have to compliment us, you don't have to let us down easy. You just say why you're gonna leave. Please, no lies. When someone in their application or in the club chat is really ungrateful for being in the club, something that I've heard a lot is, "I only want to try you guys out," or "I want to see if I fit in the club." Or listen to this, or they go like, "If this club doesn't work out, I'm gonna join name other club." Like, okay, then go join that club. Like, we're not stopping you. Why do you have to mention that? I really don't understand, but you do you. Something that, it's really annoying is when people bring up other clubs in the club, because that just makes me feel really insecure about my club. Um, and especially when people are like comparing clubs, like um like they bring up Danger Sisters, or like especially people in the club, they bring up Danger Sisters, and then they bring up their past club and they're like, "Oh, well, we used to do this or we used to do that." And when they're asked about, what their favorite club is, they answer it as like a past club. That makes me feel like I'm doing something wrong and I don't know what it is. So yeah, it just makes me feel really bad about myself, and I would prefer it if people didn't do that. Of course, they have free will. They can answer questions however they like. They obviously want to give the truth, but just in general, I don't like it because it makes me feel bad. And I hope people can relate to that. Like, if you're outside of the club, it doesn't matter. If you like us, you like us. If you don't, you don't. But people in the club, if someone asks them for their favorite club, or like the favorite club they've ever been in, and they don't say Diaz, and then they just keep on ranting about how amazing their previous club was, I'm kind of like, well, why don't you join back to them, right? Because you obviously appreciate them so much more. I feel like a lot of people, they don't appreciate the clubs they're in, the time that club owners spend into like dedicating it to that club. They really don't appreciate it, and it hurts to see, honestly. Friends. So, again, I've had bad situations in clubs. I feel like I've talked about this in my worst club experiences and while reading yours, but friends are okay, it depends. Again, situation wise, because I've had great pairs, great friend groups join my clubs, and it's always fun, but I've also had bad ones. And here, let me explain. So, a lot of times as a club owner, you will experience this, but like when friends apply for clubs together, or they apply like as a huge group, and like they specifically mention in their application, oh, I'm friends with this person who also applied, um, because if something like that happens, then it makes us feel bad because sometimes in a group of friends, there's one person who has an amazing application and one person who has one that's not so much amazing. It's almost as if they think, oh, if my friend has a good application and I say that they're my friend, then that also makes my application seem good. It does not. You are an individual and like your personality trait is not the same as your friends. So if they say that they're friends with, another person who applied, it makes us feel bad if we only want to accept one of their friends, because then if that happens, it just makes the other friend feel bad, and obviously we don't want that to happen. But okay, something else that happens is like if someone puts in an application, like two people apply or like a bunch of people apply, and in their application they specifically write, if my friend doesn't get in, I don't want in either. Or like, if like out of the, like, we will only join the club if both of us get accepted. Like, is that a threat? Honestly, because I won't hesitate to like not accept either of you, right? Like, just because you're a friend doesn't mean you get like free passes to the club. And again, it's not something that we really like to see. And things that happen sometimes, okay, so let's say that two friends, they do have both good applications and they both join the club. What happens now, especially if those two friends are very like close and they're both introverts, is they only talk to each other. They're constantly hanging out with each other, but they don't try to communicate to anyone else in the club. So they're kind of like alone and separated from the rest of the club. Then what happens is like, why would you join a club if you don't want to connect? If the only person you talk to is your other friend, then you two go make a club, right? Like, being in a club is supposed to help you make friends, meet new people, and have new experiences. But if you're just gonna chat to like that one person all the time, then why bother? Honestly. People who join with their friends, what I've learned is that they also commonly leave with their friends, and that is a reason why I don't like accepting larger friend groups, because what happens is you might think it's great, accepting like 5 or 6 people at once, but then when 5 or 6 people leave at once, that is a completely different story, and like it forms cliques in the club, um, which is not something that you want to happen. It's not exactly a pet peeve, but I hate it when people only want to join clubs because they're big, or they want to meet a creator or a content creator, or they just want to feel special or gain followers because of a specific person who is in the club that they want to join. If you want to meet a creator, just meet them. You don't have to waste everybody's time to, and like, that shouldn't be the only reason you want to join a club, because if that is, then maybe you should join a different club, right? That's never a good reason for one to join a club. And a common misconception is that like bigger clubs are better. Everyone has their preferences. They're not always better, but please, like, you have your preference, you can share it, but don't like press it onto other people, right? Everyone has their own opinion. I've seen lots of people who are like, oh, I like small clubs, or like, what clubs should I go for? And then someone else goes, go for the big clubs, right? The full clubs. And like, why? That's not true. Not all big clubs are good clubs. I really can't stress that enough. I know clubs that have like, they're two clubs and they have over 100 members, but they suck. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna like name names, but bigger clubs, it really depends, but it can either be like a perfect, big, well-rounded family, or it can be a place where you're not very welcomed because everybody's really distant and it's full of little like groups. Small clubs, again, it depends. Small active clubs, specifically active ones, are my favorite because usually in small clubs, the owner pays more attention to members individually, and because it's a small club, and it's active, everybody gets to know each other really well, and it's very, very nice. But again, that's not to say that big clubs can't be inclusive and have the owner pay attention to people. It depends on the club itself, the members in it, the owner, the rules, and stuff like that. But that's basically what I had to say. It was really interesting to read all the comments in the Club Cliche server, and generally to like share my own opinion about it, because again, I'm really passionate about clubs. I could really talk and give advice for hours on hours on hours. But yeah, I don't want to bore you guys. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.